For an entire month, she acted as if I didn't exist. No phone calls, no messages, no acknowledgement of the countless small efforts I made to connect with her. It was as if a stranger shared my home, a woman who slept under the same roof but had erased me from her world. Then, without warning, she appeared in the doorway, offering a smile and a breezy explanation. "I've learned my lesson," she said, her voice light and playful, as if 30 days of complete withdrawal had been nothing more than a minor test. I met her gaze with a steady, even expression. "I've learned mine," I replied quietly, then walked past her into the living room. There was no outburst, no heated argument, just a simple acknowledgement. Because in that month of silence, I had come to understand something essential. People show you exactly who they are when they believe you're not watching. And over those 30 days, she had revealed herself clearly, whether she realized it or not. My name is Matt, and I've always been a patient person. Patient in relationships, in disagreements, in the everyday grind of life. But patience is not the same as surrender. It does not require tolerating disrespect or allowing someone to treat you as if you're invisible. For 3 years, I had built a life with Emily, a woman I believed was committed to the same idea of partnership. We shared laughter, closeness, and common dreams. But gradually, things eroded. The casual touches grew rare, our conversations lost their depth, and the warmth in her eyes faded into detachment. I tried to close the widening distance with thoughtful gestures, handwritten notes, her favorite home-cooked dinners, evenings reserved just for the two of us. None of it made a difference. By the 3rd month of this slow unraveling, the truth was unmistakable. She had stopped valuing not only our relationship, but my very presence in her life. Then came the month of total silence, a void so absolute that it forced itself into focus. That first night, I didn't challenge her. I simply sat in the living room, letting the quiet settle, taking in the unease in her posture and the fleeting uncertainty in her expression. She was waiting for me to react, to plead, to seek her approval, to validate whatever point she thought she had made. But I'd already drawn my own conclusion. Silence carries its own force, and within that force, reality becomes undeniable. Hey, if you're watching this on your phone during a quick break, or maybe on your laptop after a long day, welcome. If you're finding value in these stories about navigating relationships with clarity and self-respect, please hit that subscribe button. It ensures you won't miss the next accounts of standing firm and reclaiming what matters. There's a lot more to come, and staying connected means you'll catch everyone. In the days that followed, Emily's actions revealed a growing unease. She tried to fill the emptiness she had created, laughing a bit too forcefully at my comments, lingering too near, offering polished excuses. I was just overwhelmed. Or, I needed time to sort out my thoughts. But I saw through it. The problem wasn't a lack of time, it was a lack of regard. And regard, once discarded, cannot be reclaimed through explanations alone. During her period of withdrawal, I had noticed the habits she had quietly developed. Secretive late-night messages to friends, unexplained changes to her schedule, a casual habit of sidestepping our shared responsibilities. Each omission, each unmentioned detail, formed a clear portrait of someone who had grown accustomed to disregarding me, secure in the belief that I would always remain available, unquestioning. I did not lash out. Instead, I held to my routines, maintaining a composed and deliberate presence. She tested me, pushing to see if I would snap in frustration, drown in guilt, or chase after her as I once had. But I had changed. That month of silence had taught me that patience, when paired with close observation, is a formidable strength. I allowed her to make her moves while quietly assembling a full picture of what had transpired. Her efforts escalated. Tentative compliments, forced small talk on trivial topics, attempts to pull me back into familiar rhythms. One morning in the kitchen, she brushed past me and said, "Matt, I really missed you." I held her gaze without flinching. "I noticed," I said, and left it at that. No elaboration, no reassurance, just the plain truth. I refused to play a role in her efforts to reset the board on her terms. By midweek, her discomfort was unmistakable. She probed into my plans, my friends, my days at work, searching for a way to stir some emotional response. I answered with brief, neutral facts, offering no fuel for drama or manipulation. Slowly, it dawned on her that the man she had once sidelined was no longer willing to follow her lead. She had assumed her return after a month of absence would effortlessly restore the old dynamic. She was mistaken. That silence had exposed the reality of our relationship and fortified my own resolve in a way that could not be undone. When she suggested a date night over the weekend, her tone light and expectant, I considered her for a moment, then replied evenly, "Not tonight." No excuses, no negotiation, just a clear boundary. Her frustration surfaced in small ways, a tightening of her voice, a flash of uncertainty behind her practiced calm. She had anticipated the easy forgiveness that had once allowed her actions to go unchallenged. Instead, she encountered a different reality. I was still patient, but I was no longer willing to absorb disregard without consequence. In the days that followed, she tried other approaches, gentle touches, light-hearted remarks designed to recapture my focus. I met each one with the same measured distance, allowing her to experience the weight of being overlooked and undervalued. Then, one evening, she approached me with a hesitant smile and asked quietly, "Are we good now?" I looked at her directly and said, "We're good when there's mutual respect. Anything less is just pretense." In that moment, the truth settled in. The lesson she believed she had imparted to me had, in fact, become her own. This was not about retaliation or putting her in her place. It was about establishing clear limits, demonstrating, without theatrics or raised voices, that respect is not a given, that it must be extended and upheld by both people, and that it cannot be squandered with indifference and casually reclaimed. Later that night, sitting alone in the living room, I considered the events of the past month. The silence, the careful watching, the gradual realignment of our dynamic. It had been an uncomfortable reckoning, but it brought essential clarity. Respect is never something that can be commanded or assumed. Once it is lost, it is a serious error to expect it will simply be handed back without effort. She had returned to the relationship, but she had returned to a different man, one who would no longer offer his attention and regard without reciprocity. That shift was irreversible.